crypto miner? Hey there, crypto miner.
Who, me?
No, the other guy with the pocket protector. Yes, you. Are you looking for a reliable multi-pool that automatically mines the most profitable altcoin, converts them to your favorite SuperNET coin, and sends them straight to your wallet?
Well, I don't.
Well, look no further. Head on over to altnuts.com today. Got all your old favorites like X11, Scripts, SHA-256, ready to turn your hash into cash. Currently paying out tasty SuperNet flavors like Opal Coin, Bitcoin Dart, VPN Coin, and Vericoin. Stop by the SuperNet multi-pool today at www.altnuts.com.
This is SuperNet Radio, live at supernetradio.com.
Good morning, crypto world. This is Lutz, coming to you live on SuperNet Radio. Today is Saturday. We have a guest on today, Damelon. And Damelon's going to tell us and show us what he does. And he is a very big part of the SuperNet community. He is actually a community leader, I believe, manager. Right?
You could community manager would be probably the best title to give. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And Damelon's got a huge crypto background. He's been in it for how many years?
Well, at this moment, 1.5 years. So
He's been in Next. How long have you been in NXT for?
well, 1.5 years. That's where I started out in Next, and I'm still in Next.
Nice. Okay, so Next was your first.
My first, where I actually got involved in the community. I worked with some Bitcoin, some early altcoins in the end of 2013, but I ended up in Next, and that's the first place where I actually took part in the community.
Nice. Okay. So at this point, hold on a second. 1 minute. That's my fault. There we go. So you just got interested in the NXT community about 1.5 years ago. What interested you? What made you want to join the NXT community and not the Bitcoin community and all those thousands of other ones out there?
Was one of the large reasons for Bitcoin at that point was it was too big to get into. When I first started, I was very new and I was looking for something to work creatively, and the Bitcoin space at the end of 2013, especially because we had that huge boom, of course, until it was at $1,000 per Bitcoin, was swamped. It was impossible to really make a difference there. So I started looking around at other interesting projects. Didn't really find a lot until I found the Next community, which was really open, and not only on a technological level, but also on open to what can we actually do with this. And that was a question that at that point wasn't really asked in other crypto communities. Everybody just wanted to make a quick buck.
Right.
And nobody asked themselves the question, is this actually useful that we're making? Next had a lot of potential and still has. And it already realized a lot of that potential.
This is the coin that actually showed you that it's not just worth $1. It actually has uses behind it.
Yeah.
It has actual function that you could do real life things with them.
Yeah.
So basically, that's when your introduction to the blockchain came about, which is
Yeah.
all about the blockchain, really.
Yeah, and that was fairly soon because everybody one of the main questions then as now was always what's the value of this? It isn't backed by anything. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
And
Right.
the value of a thing doesn't really need to be in a backing, but can also be in usefulness. That's actually why things, except things like gold, of course, but that's a secondary usefulness. It can be used for something that cannot be done by anything else in the same way, and that's it.
Right.
That's what makes it valuable. Um,
So
that next had that and has that.
so your love is next. That's
Yeah,
that's the that's your love child coin.
yeah,
Uh, I personally I got into it a little bit after Vericoin. Vericoin was my first.
yeah.
I was a virgin before that, and Vericoin had a lot of interesting concepts. And then I found the next wallet, which I think that was part of their merger back in the day, and in the crypto day, which is very short. And I saw a wallet that had assets in it and people getting dividends, from the assets. And I saw the, these new all these new features on it. The message came in through the wallet. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Hmm.
And at that time I was actually trying so many different cryptos other than I liked opening the wallets and seeing
Yeah,
what they look like.
yeah,
And they all had that QT wallet, which was all very common. And then every once in a while you come across a coin where it was a little innovative, like I think it was Tac Coin, where there was an actual chat in the wallet. And I was like, oh wow, this wallet has a chat in it.
yeah,
Yeah. And it costs you a couple of coin just to say something.
yeah.
So you get better make sure you say something important. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting technologies in all the coins. Not all of them. There's a lot of shit coins out there, but
Hmm.
if you look good, there are some coins that are very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's I heard you did a little thing with children earlier. What was that about?
Oh, today you mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Today well, my I started out years ago. Until 10 years ago, I was an all-round theater maker, so director, writer, actor, and lighting technician. And today I had my first gig in 10 years again. I got an invitation. For 10 years I didn't have any
Hmm.
uh, need or reason to go back into it, and I got an invitation to do one again, and I thought, yeah, let's try. And it was actually really fun again to be on stage. And
Congratulations.
yeah,
That's
that's it
nice.
is
I,
it is
I'm a big proponent. I love teaching the children. I mean, I think that's where it's at,
Yeah.
especially for the future. Like I saw a picture of you earlier. I'm not sure what you were showing or teaching the kids. You were showing them something.
I was
I'm pretty sure it was crypto related.
you hope. It was about a moon, so in a certain way you could say that it had some connection to crypto, but no, this was just storytelling.
So when they say to the moon, children, this is what
Exactly.
they mean.
Repeat after me, please. To the moon. You can't start early enough. It's true.
Well, you got to plant the seed somewhere. You got to, show them, the system, what slavery is, what freedom
Yeah.
is, or else they won't recognize it. And they'll just grow right into that system that everybody else grows into.
Well, this was actually the gig I did do was actually at a kind of a libertarian festival. So in that sense, there are definitely crossovers to make. I'm fairly certain that there are some crypto people there, or at least very open to it. So Yeah, it's completely self-sufficient space in Holland that does their own thing.
We have a community member wants to know if you're Dutch.
I am Dutch, yes.
Oh, there you go. There's your answer. Good. Good. Spot on. Uh,
Yeah, the accent.
you actually sound like a screenwriter. I don't know. You sound like somebody who holds up the, you know, that cone and tells people what to do.
I like to do that sometimes.
So so NXT. Uh, what do you know the technicals? How technical are you with the NXT?
I am not very technical, but overall, the course of 1.5 year, you learn more than enough to answer at least a few questions. So we can try.
What innovations are you loving about NXT at the moment?
The thing that I like and if I compare it to well, the big player Bitcoin, for instance, one of the things that I really like about NXT is that every other function that you can do with Bitcoin but need a third-party application for, a lot of those functions are native within Next. It is in one blockchain, and you don't have to build a business on top of it that then becomes dependent on a blockchain that they don't have any real control over.
Right.
I also work in business, and one of the things that you really do not want is to be dependent on a third party, because that's always a really dangerous situation. So that's one of the things that I like in Next. What I also like in Next is that it has multiple functions. I think we're getting to the milestone with the next release that for a while there won't be that many added, but these multiple functions can all work together to build more complex systems. I think that's still being very much overlooked. I'm really working on the education part there. For instance, you mentioned messages. And they are not just messages. The system that is called messaging
Uh-huh.
is basically a data transfer system. You can't just send human readable messages. You can send blocks of data with it and store blocks of data with it on the blockchain. So it's actually a data transfer and storage system.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So if you think of it like that, it opens up a much broader range of possibilities. If I just say, yeah, you can send messages, yeah, I can send messages by email too, or by chat. But if you say, okay, we here have a data transfer system on the blockchain where you can also store persistent data on the blockchain, it becomes a completely different thing, and much more interesting to me than just messages.
Yeah, it adds more bandwidth to that feature. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and this goes for almost every feature that there is. People are looking at the asset exchange, and the asset exchange is of course usable for trading assets like people are doing now, but it isn't just stock-like things, but it's a token machine, something where you can create a token, anything. It can be a membership card. That's also a token. And you can use that to gain access to certain functionality on websites, for instance. Or now with the new voting system, yeah.
What's that? I was going to ask about the monetary system, but go on about the voting system. What's that about?
Well, the voting system is one of the last new features that's going to be released in 1.5 in the newest version of NXT. It's already on testnet.
Nice.
And it is voting on the blockchain, and it's as a separate function. You would say, okay, you can vote on the blockchain, so we can do any kind of vote that you want. You can use it in a business, but you can also use it in a country if you would like. But the nice thing is, again, the modularity of Next allows you to link this vote where you can say, okay, if this vote is yes, then this action, for instance, then this account sends transactions to these accounts, and so you can vote for, you can do board voting about spending money. So you can link those into other possibilities, or if vote is no, then send this message or this stream of data to these accounts, and this data can then trigger that, and etc.
Kind of
So
like
it's much larger.
kind of like the way they distribute the asset dividends, right? It could go to all multiple accounts. I think that's amazing that it does that automatically like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could then, for instance, you could link the dividends. The dividends now are set, but you can also say, okay, we want to vote for these dividends to be very sure that we can and want to do them now. So then you can see that the directors of a certain company have actually voted to do this by a majority, or by you can do all these parameters that you want. Because that's the nice thing. The voting system is not static. It doesn't say anyone with some next on the account can vote, but you can also make, for instance, an asset and distribute this to several accounts. Say these assets prove that you're a member of the board, and only people with this asset, and only these people with this asset are allowed to participate in this vote. So then assets become something completely different again. And of course, they're interchangeable. So it's very easy to, membership of the board is not linked to a name anymore. It's just linked to an account that holds that specific asset. So it's much more flexible than at first glance it looks. All these features, whatever the name is, can be looked at a much more abstract level, and that's the part that I'm trying to get out a lot. Is no, it's not just an asset, as in
it's a stake. It's a stake in management. You could be you can make decisions for whatever you're interested in by owning a certain amount of stock.
Yeah.
Or asset. We don't want to say the word stock.
But for instance, we've also been working on a game in which assets would be used as in-game properties, for instance, or in-game in-game resources. And once you trade them to a certain account, then something else is triggered, and you get a different asset back, which means that there has been crafting. I think this is a step with NXT that we still need to take, is that we can think much more abstractly about the features than we do at this moment.
How about the monetary system? I kind of failed to see its purpose. So everything you've mentioned with assets, I get and I've gotten, but the monetary system didn't. At first, even from the beginning, it hasn't really been much of a success.
No, it is an underused feature at this moment. There was a huge spike at the start, and then it petered out. It is a bit of a difficult one, I think, because it has a lot of overlap with assets, in the sense that it's also tokens, but they are handled in a slightly different way, and I think people can't really distinguish between the two.
Exactly. That's exactly the issue.
Exactly. Why should I make a currency instead of make 1 million assets and use them as a currency? The one thing that
What real world case uses can we use the monetary system for?
The one that I myself found really interesting, but this needs application development before it's really useful is a crowdfunding way. You can what you can do with monetary systems. For people who don't know monetary systems, is you can create coins, currencies on top of the next blockchain. So the currencies are secured by the NXT blockchain. It's not a side chain, but it works like a separate coin. So, for instance, we have NXT that's running, and I decide I want 10 million units of Damelon coin, and I want to use those as an internal currency for my system. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I can in the monetary system you can add certain characteristics to each currency. For instance, I can make it a reservable coin, and reservable coin means that I need to lock in NXT, which has a value, into an account, and then it releases those coins once that amount of NXT is reached. So that means that you can lock in, you can do a fundraiser, for instance, and you say, I want to raise 200,000 NXT for this cause.
Mm-hmm.
And this will release a certain amount of other coins, but you can exchange these again. So you can track certain amounts of coins by using that specific coin. That's one way that people have been doing it. But I agree with you. Yeah.
So would it be safe to say that the coin retains the NXT value when I distribute, say, 100,000?
Yeah.
And then whatever.
Because people can.
And I'm sorry. And then whatever value I add to it with whatever case use I'm using it for would add more value on top of the NXT value. Is that would that be safe?
Depends on what you have a guaranteed value in NXT, and then on top you have different value which is not linked to the NXT but the use that it gets. Yeah. But it's backed by NXT at that moment.
Nice. So it would be worth 4,000.
That's one case.
That's So say and me for SuperNet Radio. I recently distributed SNRN, and I'm only putting out a tiny bit at a time, to help cover the costs of the station, which is all community driven at that point, which would make it community driven.
Yeah.
I also have, things I want to give away to listeners. I have, a barrage of SuperNet silver coins, T-shirts eventually. How would I wanted to use the monetary system in NXT to create a way of people redeeming. Would there be a way of doing that? Like say you create a monetary.
One of the ways.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's possible. You can. Well, again, you get this overlap between the asset exchange and the monetary system.
Right.
Because the easiest way to do this is with a kind of a loyalty token like system where you can say, okay, for each action you get a certain amount of X asset or X MS coin, and if you can then, if you have a certain amount, you can redeem them with me for product X or for a SuperNet silver coin, etc. That would be a use case. I am not quite sure, because I also have this same kind of
confusion
problem distinguishing between the two. There is a lot of overlap between assets and MS coins, and I am still thinking of use cases for it, but until I get an ironclad use case for an MS coin, I myself also use assets.
Right, and that's also the method I was going towards. Have them just redeem the SNRN for things that they want to purchase in the soon-to-come store that we're gonna build for all the giveaways, and we're gonna give them away also. But we have some people in house that create T-shirts. We have people in house over here in the Slack, SuperNet Slack, that make chairs. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's a great community. I've really been enjoying SuperNet Slack. But yeah, the case in point, that confusion does need to be clarified more, or they need to come up with real more uses for this monetary system. It's an interesting system. It's more like colored coins, right?
Well, asset exchanges really colored coins. That's exactly what colored coins is about. It is already no, asset exchange is colored coins. There's no difference between them.
Gotcha.
So the MS currencies had a different reason for existing, but I am still, well, like I say, I'm still also figuring out what would be an ironclad use case for this, and I don't have it either.
Yep. So if you're hearing NXT guys, who's that? Jean-Luc Picard. That's something you need to work on.
Well, yes, this is also it was a feature that was proposed, that has been worked out, and well, not every feature. It's the same with at start with messages. We had that problem too. Messages weren't really used. Also because I think that a lot of people were hung up on the fact that it would be human readable messages. Now you start to see much more thinking about, okay, how can we use it for data transfer? So one of the things that people are working on is making it into a system for storing torrents, for instance. And then it becomes really interesting. So, well, torrent files.
I like
then it becomes really interesting. Yeah, exactly, because then you really solve one big problem, which is sites being taken down, which is easy when you have a centralized site that can be targeted. It takes a court case, but it can be done. If it's on the blockchain, no problem.
Before that even happens, what they do is they put up a message saying this has been removed, due to copyright restrictions and yada yada. So yeah, I noticed that, and that's an issue. But torrents, that would be a great solution for the monetary system.
Well, this is for the messages, because this is the data storage part again. So this is the messaging system is ideal to be used for that, because it isn't that much data to store. A torrent file, it's really small, easy to store on the blockchain. The system is already there, so it's usable. The alpha version is out now, and they're working on different ways of doing it. But that's one of the things that I really like, because that takes the messaging, which started as a kind of an internal messaging system, into something that really is useful. And it's not only that you then get all these discussions, but then people can use it for illegal stuff. I still think that's a moot discussion, because you can make anything illegal. It can also be used, and this is something I really like, it can also be used for legitimate file sharing. There are a lot of indie music bands out there that want to get their stuff distributed, but they don't even want to be distributed by a label, for instance. They want to keep that in their own hands. This is a possibility, and this is one of the ways to do it.
And I agree with you. If you're an indie music writer out there and you want to be heard, you're more than welcome to have your stuff played here on SuperNet Radio.
Yeah.
I love new music. I'm a big music listener. I believe it changes our bodies and our mood tremendously.
And it works for any kind of creative work. It works for self-made videos. It works for books. All these things can be distributed, because we also have the marketplace system, for instance, which also this is inbuilt marketplace system within NXT, and there is a long project which is nearing completion, for instance, called Melodious, that uses this system,
Right.
where people can actually, with a few clicks of a button, and this is a very, very important part of it, I think, just with a few clicks of a button, they can put their content online and sell it.
Oh, that's Melodious.
Melodious.
I heard of them. I would love to have
Yeah.
them on the show. Who's the creators of Melodious?
Well, there is a channel on the Slack, so it's probably best to go in there. But we have one guy who's called the Lawyer of Next. He's a Spanish lawyer.
I've
He's
seen him.
he's one of the key people for Melodious. So he's also looking into the legal side of all this. And this is something that is really of value. And I can see, I myself also, if I want to self-publish.
Right.
This is self-published in a way that it can't be taken down. There's no one else but me that has control over my creative output. That can be done, and that's
Is it a decentralized solution? Say, I know for a fact that I could, if I was a musician, I could build a website and start selling stuff off my website. But there's always that danger that they're going to shut my website down. They're going to tax guys are going to come through and say, "Oh, you've made certain amount of income this year because you've sold so much, and we need to take our piece." So what is there a decentralized solution? Is Melodious a decentralized solution?
It's decentralized. The nice thing is Melodious itself is just a shell site to make it easy to interact with the next blockchain. And that's one step that is really needed for any crypto, is to make it easy to interact with the actual technology. But the content that you put out there is the links, etc. That you sell. Those are decentralized. That's on the next blockchain directly. So nobody else. Melodious doesn't have control over it. Melodious just provides easy access.
That's amazing. That's actually fantastic. I didn't even know that.
No, but that's exactly the kind of thing that I would really like and to see develop much more. Websites, no problem, if they offer ease of access to the chain, but the chain, the data itself needs to be on the chain, of course.
Yeah, so even if they shut the website down, they can't remove the data.
Exactly.
That's I could easily build 50 websites and throw up the same HTML code on each one, and go ahead, start taking them down one by one. I'll just keep building more.
Yeah, the nice thing is, of course, if you know where the data is stored on the blockchain and you put up another site and that links to the exact space in the blockchain, it pops up with the same data anyway. So it doesn't matter where your site is, or if it's taken down, you just put up another one and the exact same data shows again. So
nice.
That's the nice thing.
And it can't be removed from the blockchain anyway.
No.
Once it's on there, it's on there. It's a ledger.
It's a ledger. So, and that's exactly the part of the discussion that I really miss if people talk about torrenting and about sharing data. It almost immediately, all these discussions go into the illegal side. What then people can sell guns and can sell drugs.
Yeah, but that's
completely true.
That's for the weak. I believe that's for the weak of mind, though. The people who listen to main media, mainstream media, and they're brainwashed. They go, "Oh, Bitcoin, Silk Road," and that's all they could assimilate with those two words.
But that's exactly what happens. But the other side, of course, of it is, yes, but you can sell all these other things that are more difficult or more restrictive to sell now too, which are legitimate. And then I really think about creative output. Anyone who tries to sell his own creative output and keep control over his own IP has a problem. And this is a problem that is already solvable, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Don't want to do that, also okay. That's fine. It's about choice. And now you don't have that choice, but you can get it.
Yeah. So there's no reason to centralize your data on your own site. All right. On your own IP, because every site you own always goes straight to that same IP, which is located on the host. Uh, yeah, and what you're saying about there's tons of legal stuff that even they could even be right there on the line with legal and illegal. I mean, you're not allowed to sell seeds. Say seeds for plants.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to sell them in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know about other states, but why it's that's an issue for me, because I'm like it's just a seed. I mean you're selling food to other people in its earliest form. You're soon to be nebulizers. You're not allowed to have a nebulizer. It's getting ridiculous on how many things they're trying to stop people from using and getting due to whatever lobbyist is in government that's pushing these rules down. And we as the people, we need to fight this, and I don't see many people fighting it at all.
Well,
I mean,
and the fun part, of course, is I'm on the other side of the ocean. I live in Amsterdam, so this is.
Lucky.
And
Lucky.
I have to say, I don't smoke weed myself. I don't. Probably because it's easy to get.
Exactly.
Everything that's difficult to get is interesting. So it's easy to get here. So it's also easy to say, meh, not for me.
Exactly. It's the red light concept. It's the red button concept. You
Exactly.
tell somebody you can't push that red button,
Yeah.
and the whole time they're gonna think, I want to push that red button.
Yeah.
You can't tell people you can't do something, because people are gonna do it.
Yeah.
And for case in point, you live all around it and you don't do it. I mean, it's the same controversy with marijuana leads to heroin addiction, and
Exactly. I live next to 3 coffee shops. In my street, 3 coffee shops, so it's everywhere. And the only people I really see smoke in a way that's really bad, and that's also funny in the summer, is tourists.
yeah.
Only tourists.
Out.
Why? Because they have no clue how to use it responsibly.
Correct. Yep.
And because they haven't been taught. They haven't been taught to
Right.
use. They haven't had the chance. It's the same thing if you go from an alcohol-free country. Probably you go and you have your first glass and you bloop, you go too far because you have no clue what
No
happened.
tolerance. Yep.
And gateway drug theory. Well, I think that has been disproven so many times already.
Right.
It's also sometimes laughable. We see that on this kind. We of course also see debates in the U.S. and we get the same kind of treatment sometimes by some of the politicians from the far right in the U.S. that are telling plain lies about how we do stuff here.
It's the silliest. It's the silliest thing. If you have marijuana in the room and you have heroin in the room, right, and you're smoking weed, there's no way you're gonna go over there and stick a needle in your arm. No one's gonna do it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No, and it's also sometimes there are plain lies. We have seen this in other ways too. There's this whole euthanasia discussion that it also comes up. And I know that one of the presidential candidates last time, I don't know, he was a Christian conservative. He actually told people that here in Holland that old people have been started to sign papers saying "Don't kill me," which is ridiculous. We don't just say, "Okay, you're old now. Let's kill you." That's against the law.
That's ridiculous.
It shows how far these people are willing to bend to just break the truth and tell plain lies to scare people into going the other way.
Right,
And
but you know what? You know what? On the same front, they're scared themselves to even go to that point.
Yeah.
They to resort to measures like that you have to be worried about something.
Yeah.
It's we've definitely gotten sidetracked off of NXT, but this is a great conversation. I'm having a good time.
Oh yeah, it's probably relevant to your situation, so why not? And we hear it is about freedom of choice. That's one of the main points in crypto. It's not about allowing everything. That's a
Right.
different thing. It's about not about saying everything goes. I am fairly sure that most people in crypto would say shooting someone through the head is not a good thing. So this doesn't mean that people condone everything or
Right.
rape
Yeah.
or rape, for instance. Nobody would say that's a good thing. Not a lot of people.
Right.
But there is freedom of choice, and this is also about how you want to live your life, and that's a completely different kind. Freedom of choice. If we give people freedom of choice, they will do the bad thing. That says something about the way you think about people, and
Right.
it's not a good thing.
Well, rape is kind of a sickness, I believe. I mean, I can't enjoy myself unless I see her enjoying herself. So, I don't understand how the rape thing works unless she suggests it.
Yeah, yeah. It's that's but exactly. It's the point is that I don't see anyone condoning r- big immoral things.
Right.
If there are some, it's a minority.
I believe people are human. I mean, there's human in people. You can't think that there's people on the other side of the world that want to kill you all the time. I don't
That's
believe that.
that's anything. That's making the unknown into the enemy. That's
Right.
happened all the way through history, but it's
Oh, we got to go bomb this country. No, we don't have to. I don't believe if I go over there and I talk to people and you get to know people, you have a drink with people. I don't believe that there's people that want to kill us.
no.
The way they state on TV, I just don't believe it. It's they're targeting United States citizens. What is there, like 4 people? You know, I know I'm exaggerating. Maybe there's 40 people. It's not the whole country we need to bomb. It's not. And stop using my tax money for that shit.
Yeah.
They're raping me, man. It's gone really far, and really what it comes down to is crypto is a way of fighting for me. This little outlet I do here with the radio station. It's a way of fighting back. Like
Yeah.
I'm in the system. I mean, they take a third of my taxes. They take taxes when I go to the grocery store. I mean, they take taxes before and after I get my money. And like I don't see any benefit from it except for them going and bombing other people. And I mean, why are you? It's really gone too far, and people are not sticking up. And the problem is, it's fear. They fearmonger people.
Yeah, and a lot of ignorance because a lot of people, the strongest change are the change you don't see.
Yeah, people have to stay off the fluoride. It's killing
But
people.
yeah, it's interesting. It is a good thing to
Look,
do.
I mean, you have the marketplace in NXT now, right?
Yeah,
That's been there a long time.
yeah,
You could sell directly from one person to somebody else without any involvement
yeah.
with the
But then we
government
get to
intervention.
the other problem, of course, and that's usability, and that's something that's also still needs to be. Well, I'm very glad with Melodious. Hope that it will be released soon, but this is also needed. It's one of the biggest pitfalls in all of crypto usability.
The monetary system and free market, and we're gonna have Knuckles on soon to
Ah,
explain the free market.
yeah.
But what's the differences between the marketplace and free market?
Yeah, that's a bit of a naming problem. Free market doesn't use the marketplace system in Next. It uses the messaging system for storing the data. So it does the same. It uses the blockchain to store data, but it uses a different feature of Next to do this.
Which one?
So
Which one would you say is more secure to use?
it's both secure. It's just a different way of doing it. but it's
I
both
see.
secure.
So, so the marketplace, like I've bought in some silver coins off of it, and it's really like if I wanted to sell seeds, I have goji berry seeds, some zucchinis. I would do it on the marketplace.
Yeah.
There's nobody to stop me from doing it. If I build a website, I'm kind of screwing myself. Uh, there's how about the alias feature? What I heard you could use it to build websites. You could use the alias, the name.
The most simple way to describe the alias feature is it allows you to point a string to a place or another string, and that string can be a site, it can be an IP address, can be another account. That says that's basically what it does. So it can also allow you because it's just a pointer system to create a decentralized DNS. And it's already been done, by the way. There is already the Hyperborea system that is functional and is a decentralized DNS system.
Hyperborea.
Hyperborea, and that's built on Next.
Is there a website, hyperborea.com?
Let me see. I think most people use a .org when they do things in Next. Let me see where I have it. This is the thread. I think it's hyperborea.org.
Hyperborea.org.
Yeah.
I'd like to get them on. Are there people? Are there people in Slack that are associated with that?
I don't think they're in Slack. It's the hyperborea.net, by the way. Probably couldn't get the other the other domains.
Yeah, I'm gonna devote some time today to try to get them in Slack.
There's one US. I think he's called Slothbag. That's his alias. I think he's US based. I'll link you the thread, and then you can get into contact with.
He's probably my neighbor.
You never know.
I knew he was doing something sneaky in there.
Yeah. But it's that's already a functional system.
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, once we get decentralized hosting, that'll be a really important function.
Yeah.
Because you'll need a decentralized domain name to go with your decentralized hosting, and then you're free.
Yeah.
You went through the messages. NXT has a great contact. The only problem is every time I install a new version or it doesn't come up, you have to rebuild everything again.
Oh, that shouldn't be. It should just keep the database.
Like all the groups I make with assets, they seem to disappear.
Ah, yes. That's true. There is that should be made easier because you store those locally, not on the blockchain.
Right. And
so if you delete them, yes, then you're true.
That's it. So it's stored on the computer itself.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming up to about an hour now.
There's one last thing that I want to mention because it is interesting. I think it's really interesting. There is now, I don't know how much you in the US know about the problems that Greece has here in Europe.
I've heard.
Yeah, big defaulting on the debts, at least they're going bankrupt. There is now a movement, a serious movement actually, to at least, and also with interest from the Greek government, to create a secondary cryptocurrency in Greece.
Oh.
An asset-backed cryptocurrency in Greece. So they monetize the country's assets. And Next is one of the considered systems for this.
Oh wow!
One of them. They're now basically trying to find out what the system should be, what the parameters should be. On the 20th of May, there's going to be an online conference again about this. But I think these kinds of things. You see it in the Ukraine too, where there's big problems. You see that also the Ukraine is looking towards crypto just to see if it can solve problems with a hyperinflating currency. Greece, same kind of thing. So it is out there, even within with states. People see the potential.
Yeah, I could, and it all comes down to, breaking themselves away from that fiat,
Yeah.
central currency where, you're attached to the United States. I'm sure they're realizing that they no longer want to be attached to the United States.
Well, yes, I know already because I've been doing conferences last year already for Next, and then when you go to conference, you are approached by government people from several countries, smaller countries around the world, weirdly enough, who actually ask about this, and for the distinct reason they want the possibility to disconnect from the dollar. They don't want to lose their own first currency. That's not what they're looking for, but they are looking at secondary currencies and possibilities to at least loosen the grip.
Right.
And that is interesting. I think no country will take the step to directly dump all their fiat and move completely to crypto. But in steps, who knows?
Small steps, it could gain so much popularity that eventually it will be the main
Yeah,
currency.
yeah, exactly. So this,
And when people realize the difference, and that's part of the education. When people start opening their minds and realizing that crypto puts the power in your pocket, and fiat just gives you a certificate of power in your pocket, and you know what I mean by that, right?
Mhm,
It's a reserve note.
mhm,
It's reserving a place for you somewhere else.
yeah,
It's like when you get a house, you buy a car and you get a certificate of title. You're not getting the title. You're getting
yeah,
a certificate of it. You
yeah,
don't own it. And that all comes down to getting things with the allodial title, and hopefully one day we could go backwards and start educating people on actually owning property, because nobody owns their property, right?
mhm,
The only thing they really own is real estate, and they don't realize the difference between property and real estate, and that's the problem. Oh, I
yeah,
bought a house. Did you buy the property or did you buy the real estate?
yeah,
And that's you don't own your house. You own the house, but you don't own the ground under it, and that's why you pay uh, taxes
yeah,
on your house, because you don't own it. If you owned it, why would you pay taxes? If you owned your car, why would you pay registration? If you own it, who's this person in the middle that's taking a registration fee? It's because the government owns 1/9 of your car.
yeah.
So it's something that needs to be open minded. Needs to open people's minds. I mean, if you really want to get into it, people, I suggest listening to Michael Badnarik.
Mhm.
He's a Constitution expert. He teaches the Constitution the way it really should be, not the way it's taught in schools.
Mm.
And Michael Badnarik, you can see him on YouTube. It's a free YouTube video. It's about a 9-hour class. I think I've listened to it like 10 times now. I just every once in a while I'll refresh myself.
Yeah.
And you'll really learn a lot about silver and gold being a real a monetary system. You'll learn a lot. So Michael Badnarik, definitely listen to him. He will open your mind. He'll make you realize the things that you don't know and what's happening to you. I really had a great time with you on the show today, Damelon.
Yeah.
You,
Always to do.
you sound like a really educated person. I mean,
Don't make me blush.
liberty wise, freedom wise, you sound like an open minded person. And that's what you have to be these days. Personally, you mentioned freedom of choice earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom goes to the supermarket. She doesn't understand. You could go to the marketplace and buy organic stuff. in the the marketplace in the parking lots where people are selling their own food. She limits herself to buying packaged food, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
Which little by little I've got her to clean her water. And realize that there's a lot of junk in the water, and you need to distill it and clean it. And it's a really slow process. Making people go backwards because they're so used to, I got to go to the supermarket and buy something.
Yeah.
I have to just drink some water. And they're drinking from the tap where the tap is poisoned. Getting people to do things a little more holistically, which I'm big into.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice once you start changing and you stop using all these provided canned foods and stifling yourself to and not opening your mind to what all the other great things out there. I mean, you'll feel the difference at the end. You will. I mean, what I changed over about 6 years ago. I no longer go to doctors. Last time I went to the doctor just to get a blood test of what's in my blood. He goes, you're due for your vaccine shot. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I told him, I said it like this, get the fuck out of here. And it wasn't the doctor, it was that guy that comes in and takes your blood pressure beforehand.
Yeah.
And he looks at his chart and he goes, you're due for vaccines. You want to take them now? I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then my doctor walks in, because I have a pretty cool doctor. He walks in and he goes, I don't take vaccines either.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, are you shitting me? You're selling me a vaccine and you're just walking here and you're telling me you don't take vaccines? Yeah, so you need to be careful. There's a lot of people selling you shit out there.
Yeah, well, that's where you get the problem where things that used to be services become products.
Right.
So this is what you see with healthcare. We had this changeover. You maybe also have it. It used to be called a patient when you went into hospital,
Right.
and here we had it for a time. I think it's been changed back, but we had it for a time that you were called a client. I'm not a client. I'm sick. I'm not buying a product health here.
Right. I come to.
You are making me better or helping me get healthy again, but that's not something I can buy.
Right. Stop introducing shit into my new stuff.
You can't package health. It's also about lifestyle and about ways of thinking and about being careful with what you do.
Right.
Once you get this consumerist thought into, especially these kinds of things, it's really dangerous. Because you also start to think about yourself like anything is you can make everything.
Right.
No,
right.
Sometimes shit happens. Sorry, this is life. Sometimes you get ill and then you want to be helped. I don't want to buy a product, I want to be helped.
Right. Sometimes you need antibodies, sometimes you need antibiotics, you're going to need penicillin from time to time. You're going to need that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a different kind of relationship with the person in front of you. If I go to a doctor and he tries to sell me health, he's a salesman. If I go into a doctor's and I want to get better, we are in a patient-doctor relationship, and that's a completely different way of looking at a human being in front of you. And that's also a trust issue that pops up once a doctor starts to become a salesman. Or forced to be a salesman even.
Right. And they're offering them for free. Some of these services they're offering for free now because they can't get people to do it optionally.
Yeah.
Voluntarily. It's like the vaccines. Oh, it's free at CVS now. Are you kidding me? I'm not gonna stab myself with that stuff. Yeah, so it's you just need to be careful. Freedom of choice, people. Damelon is a big proponent of freedom of choice. You really great guy, Damelon. I want to have you back on the show. We'll get some more. Maybe we'll get some more people in also that are freedom lovers like us. I really want to create something for children eventually. Maybe we could put our heads together and do something.
Yeah.
Just I mean, maybe a cartoon or something, but I really want to do that in the future. Just to show them that pushing
Yeah.
pushing the red button isn't exactly a big deal, and is just I want to get them out of the system, the train of thought that everybody gets into, where they go to work every day. Oh, you got to go to the doctor. You need to take your vaccines. You need to take these pills. Nurses are forced to take vaccines. They're forced to take. You have to take vaccines, and if you're a nurse.
Probably a liability issue then.
So they say.
Yeah,
So they
exactly.
say.
But that's the way it's sold. Yeah.
Right. So they can't sell it now. They're forcing you to take it. Anyway, enjoy your Saturday, Damelon.
Yeah, same to you.
I really love having you. You're a great guy. Keep try not to kick too many people out of Slack.
Depends on people.
How many have you kicked out lately? Come on.
I also need to go on a power trip once in a while.
Hey, that is your power to use. But try not to kick me out, all right? Especially if I go on tangents.
That's a different thing, yeah.
I talk about strippers a lot. I like doing that.
Okay. Good.
All right, bro. You have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday. A little later today, we might have another show. I'll announce it on SuperNET Slack, where you could join SuperNET Slack if you are not a part of this community. You could join it at supernet.org. There is an email address there. Just send an anonymous email if you like, from one that you don't use, and we'll invite you to SuperNet Slack. And you'll be part of this great community of a lot of libertarian freedom people here that are fighting back. So please, if you're interested, definitely you could even get in touch with me. My email address is supernetradio@gmail.com. If you don't know how to do it, I will show you how to do it. I'm not a teacher, but I could get you in a place where you could get started. Okay. Enjoy your day, Damelon, and I'm gonna go make some coffee.
Okay.
This is Lutz signing out.